Yeah, can.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to share about solar energy. So actually, just a little bit correction. I'm working at Tadao Energy as a project manager here. And then just to add on with thank you so much for explaining and um, for the introduction, Juliana. Okay, just to add on that. Previously, I was working in the early stage of my career. I started with being a lecturer for 4 years, and then after that, I jumped into manufacturing industry in charge in electronic maintenance for 5 to 6 years, and then after that, I jumped to another after 10 years total experience at Sarawak. Now I'm working at KL. Uh, as a project manager and very new industry, new location, and new position. There's a lot of thing that I can explore here. Okay, so I'm a bit excited as well to share with you guys about the solar energy, and then we will see on how we can go through this. Okay, so before that, um I just want to see how many of you guys here are, oh, unfortunately, we cannot have interaction through the chat. It's okay. So, how many of you guys are or have the at least the basic knowledge of the renewable energy? Maybe you can hands up, raise your hand, and we'll see how many of you guys are. Juliana, Brian, Richie, Millennium, Wong. Okay, not many. Okay, what about solar specifically? Anyone knows about it or maybe interested in this? Richie, Millennium, Brian, Juliana, Nico, Steven, Hannah. Wow, interesting. We can be friends after this. Okay, so let's continue with our. Okay, so basically, as you know, you know that uh what is the major advantage if you want to use the renewable energy, right? You know that renewable energy means that the energy can be obtained easily because the source is there as long as the earth still always be available. Okay, so as we can see here, this is a very simple 5 types of the renewable energy source: wind, solar, hydro, geothermal, biomass. But nowadays, there's a lot of other renewable energy has been explored, and sometimes, most of the time, they try to hybrid it. But that's another story. Okay, so my big question here, before we go into the details, I have another question. From 5 of these, how which one you think is the best renewable energy? Maybe you can unmute. One or two of you can unmute and share which one you think is the best in renewable energy sources. Juliana, what do you think?
Um, Probably the water one, the hydro power.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Juliana. I'll give the feedback after this. What about the
Okay,
others?
thank you.
Geo,
Solar.
Solar. What else?
geothermal,
Geothermal. Any other question? Any other answer? Sorry.
Fuel
Wind.
cell.
Sorry.
Fuel cell.
Fuel cell. Okay, that's a new technology. Thank you so much for giving the feedback, giving this response. Very interesting. Okay, actually, amongst these 5 renewable energy sources or maybe new other technologies, there is no the best or the worst in general. Why? Because you have to see them, you have to use them based on the location. So for example, I give you a very simple example. If let's say the location has very wind, strong wind, so of course you will try to optimize the wind and convert it into the energy, something like that. So same goes to the other energy like geothermal, biomass, hydro. Hydro means that you have to see that the water resources in that location is very, maybe there's a lot of river sources and so on. Same goes to the solar. But solar, that's very interesting. Because people always think that solar means that sun is everywhere. Why do we have to choose which area that we want to go? It's okay. Later I'll tell you how do we choose how or maybe which area that's suitable to use this solar energy. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing your thought, guys. Okay, now let's zoom in this Malaysia area, renewables in Malaysia. But like I said, like I mentioned previously, there is no best or worst, but depends on the location. So in Malaysia, you have to see what is our advantage. First, we have very high solar irradiation, means that we can use solar energy. Second, we have a lot of sources such as we have a lot of waste, agricultural, domestic, and industrial waste means that we can use it for biomass. And finally, we have lots of sources of rivers and it's very suitable to build a hydroelectric power. But if you can see here, this is the summary of renewable energy resource potential in Malaysia. As you can see, of course, we have solar PV. But if you compare to the other country, it might be changed. So solar PV, of course I'm working at a solar company, but I'm not trying to say that solar is the best in the whole world. No, it must be a reason or justified reason to choose solar in certain area. Okay. So as you can see here, in West Malaysia, we have in general in Malaysia, solar PV is the major renewable energy resource that we can use. Okay, and then next we have hydro, bioenergy, and the rest. But when we go into one by one region, for example, West Malaysia, what is the highest is solar, and then after that is hydro, and then after that, this one is bioenergy. Or maybe in Sarawak, it's a little bit different. First, solar, and second, we have hydro. But this one, we will talk further when we talk about the types of solar later. Solar, and then hydro, and then after that, we have bioenergy. But what about Sabah? Sabah, we have solar, we have this very small portion of other energy. Okay, so this is how the distribution between different types of renewable energy in Malaysia. Okay, so next we zoom in from 5 types of renewable energy. Let's zoom in into solar PV. So just like I mentioned previously as well, I stated that one of our advantage, our privilege here in Malaysia is we have very high solar irradiance. But what is solar irradiance? Because people always confuse. Solar irradiance is people always relate solar irradiance in to the hotness of the heat transferred during the maybe KL is very hot, Kuching is not really something like that. No, solar irradiance is not relatively related to the heat transferred. No, because we have confirmed that even the highest temperature of sun radiation, sometimes it cannot convert it into energy. Irradiation is the sun radiation that can convert into energy. I repeat again, solar irradiation is the useful solar radiation that can be converted into energy. Okay, so in the range, as a parameter, solar irradiance, we use the unit of kilowatt hour per meter square. So in the Southeast Asia, our range is 1,500 to 2,000. So in Malaysia, we have 1,726. So as you can see here, I repeat again here, Southeast in Southeast Asia, the range is 1,500 to 2,000, right? But our range is in between 1,700, which means that in Southeast Asia, our rate is very, very good reading. So means that we have to fully optimize, fully utilize our resource, our solar resource here. Okay, but again, this is the average. This is average of solar irradiance, means that not all area have this same amount of solar irradiance, right? So as you can see here, the easier way to see it is the range color. The 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 more red it is, the better the solar irradiance. And okay, let's see the West Malaysia. We can see that the north region, we have very high irradiance. That's why there's a lot of project over there. That's why there's a lot of LSS plant over there as well. And for our case, why we plan our LSS plant, that is large scale solar plant at Kudat Sabah, because Kudat Sabah is one of the highest solar irradiance. Is as you, if you see here, Malaysia average is 1,700, right? But our irradiance rate is 1,890. 1,890. So this is not something that this is not an opportunity that we can let it go. So that is why choosing the right location is very important. Like I mentioned earlier, while when you choose the renewable energy that you want to choose, you have to see the location. And the best location for solar PV, for example, you have to see the solar irradiance. The higher the solar irradiance, the better the energy that be generated be generated from that. Okay. So next, there are three types of solar PV. We have rooftop solar, floating solar, and also we have ground mounted solar. So of course, this is not something that we have to understand further, because of course, you know, rooftop means it is installed in roof. Floating solar means that we install the solar on top of the water bodies. And then ground mounted means that we install the solar on top of the installed on the ground. But my question here is this: which one of these three? Of course, I will not ask you the same question as well. But my question is this: which one of these you think is the easiest to be installed and also the hardest? Which one? You think amongst these three, which one is the easiest to install and which one is the hardest to install?
The ground mounted solar.
Ground mounted is the easiest or the hardest?
I think the rooftop is the easiest.
Okay, Juliana said rooftop is the easiest.
Floating should be the hardest. Ground should be
Probably
the
the
easiest.
easiest. The hardest is probably floating.
Floating is the hardest. What about the grounded and ground mounted?
Ground mounted, I think should be the second hardest. It's like in the middle.
Okay.
Like
Great. Yes? Anyone else?
if ground mounted, I only worry if it's a rural area, then it's difficult to access only.
Yes, correct. Okay, nice. Very interesting insight from all of you guys. Okay, Juliana, congratulations. Yes, it's correct that the easiest is rooftop solar. Why? It's very simple. Very small area. We just have to see the roof available and so on. So nothing much. Maybe we have to see the main source of electricity, of course, but it is nothing much that we have to be worried. But what is the key challenge while we install the rooftop? Of course, rooftop solar depends on the roof. So you have to see what types of roof is it. First, second, you have to understand the roof is not all, they don't have the same standard types, residential different types, manufacturing different types, and sometimes they have old, very old roof, and then sometimes they want it to be very car park rooftop, for example. There's a lot of different types of roof. It's easiest, of course, but of course you have to be very careful while doing the assessment, roof assessment. So that's why one of the assessment that we have to go through in this particular installation is the roof assessment. Very easy, but very tricky. Next, we go to floating solar. What is the key challenge? It looks very beautiful. At first, when I saw the one of our contract and project, we saw that's very beautiful. Of course, it looks beautiful on the water, but there's a lot of other challenge. For example, the concern is from the environment authorities. Why? They have to understand, uh, is this solar PV, the installation tools, equipments, and whatever it is that all together with the solar, is it what is the effect to the water quality? That's the biggest concern. So that's the thing that you have to really check on the material use while for this installation. That's that's uh that's the challenge for the floating solar. The most beautiful, I would say, the most beautiful, but is not, yeah, we the concern is there. Water is the resource that will be distributed maybe to domestic use, for example. So we have to maintain the water quality if we want to install the floating solar. So that's why the floating solar, most of it will try to uh, y- find the better water bodies and so on. Okay, and then finally the ground mounted. Yes, correct. Just now I heard that someone said about the to find the, if let's say rural, to find the space to install. Yes, correct. When we talk about ground mounted means that we need extra space of land. That's another challenge. And another part is that for those electrical people, you know that when you do this ground mounted means that you have another um, extra part of grounding that have to be installed together with this ground mounted solar. So briefly about these three types of solar. If you ask me which one is the best, it doesn't matter much. Of course, we have to see what is first. You have to know what is the client, what is the customer's need. Second, if let's say they want to give us more space, then we will try to propose them the bigger or the variety of solution, because uh, as solution you cannot limit yourself into one installation. Sometimes we can hybrid it rooftop with ground mounted, for example, ground mounted with floating, for example. But that's another story lah. Okay, so that is briefly about these three types solar PV. Okay, now just now we talk about these three types solar PV. Now we go back to this map. Why we have to go back so many times to this map, right? But actually, when I'm working with this company, I'm getting used um doing this Google Maps, Google Maps, Google the people apa customers roof, and there's a lot of things. So we are going to, if you interested in solar industry, you have to be ready to face these maps in your world. There's a lot of things that will be involved with maps, Google Maps, and so on. And the software, later I will talk about it. And then uh, on how the software helps in designing this solar PV. Okay, so based on these three types of solar PV, you can see here, Peninsula, we have the highest is ground mounted. See, the blue one is ground mounted, orange is floating, green is rooftop. So in Peninsula, we have the highest is ground mounted, means that there's a lot of ground that available. Okay, and then after that rooftop, and the last one is floating. But if we compare to Sarawak, the second resource for this solar PV is floating. See, the first is ground mounted, second is floating, last is rooftop. Means that why? Why? Since you're living at Sarawak, you know that we have a lot of water resource here. But the question, this is the potential. We hope that in the future there will be a lot of uh, opportunity to be explored in this kind of area. Okay, while if we compare to the Sabah, the major resources ground mounted. Okay, there's three different region, but three different distribution of their on availability of solar PV. Okay. Okay, so now we go into this. Before that, do you have any question uh, about the other previous slide? Before I go into the next slide, do you have any question?
I have one. I just want to know, for if let's say chemical leaching into water for floating solar, is there an issue for that?
Sorry, repeat again.
For chemical leaching, as you mentioned, you have to go through all those bodies to apply for environmental act and all those 14,001 ISO. So for chemical, because I know battery they will leach it. Is there a particular technology that you use to prevent that from happening?
Yeah. because the floating solar is not I'm not saying it already exists, means that and also there are uh, there are there has been established on how to install the floating in a safer way. Very, very good question. Because one of, the solar, they have to have this floater, the one that makes them float. Okay. Surprisingly, floater can be harmful to the water quality. Imagine that the very important component but harmful to the water quality. But then later they upgrade the floater. The certain suppliers has designed the floater to make sure it comply with the Water Quality Act and regulatories. I believe it same goes to the battery as well. Okay. Any other question? No. Wong, are you okay? Wong is the one who
Yep, yep.
asked.
Question answered. Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Now we go into this. Okay. What do engineers this is very basic one. Step by step, what should we do during this let's say we have been approached for the project. Let's say how do we want to do, what is the methods that we have to do. First, we will start with preliminary assessment, means that we have to do desktop study. Desktop study means that we have to use certain software to simulate and understand the certain area, how the generation of the solar. Is it worth for them to install at that area or not worth? Okay, we have to do the assessment first, and then we share to the potential client, and then they will think first on whether is it worth for them to proceed with that particular area or particular proposal. Okay, that is first. Second, but you have to understand Google Maps or Google Earth, whatever is the software, it will not give us the clear idea on what's going on the site. So that's why we need to have the second one, that is detailed assessment. Once they said, okay, I think your simulation, okay, it is worth for us to invest on this. Okay, next we will go to the site visit to understand what's going on. For example, ground mounted, is it enough for ground mounted? Is there any other challenges? Is there how many trees, for example, that we have to go through if let's say we want to do water floating solar? How's the situation? Is there any residential area? And then same goes to the rooftop solar. So there's a lot of additional information that we can get through the site visit. Okay, and then this is just for sharing for all of you. Certification related in Malaysia, you can enroll yourself in GCPV, Grid Connected Photovoltaic, under SEDA Malaysia, or OGPV, Off Grid Photovoltaic, SEDA Malaysia. This is very uh, pricey, 5 to 6K, but also very valuable certification skills. And then the interesting part about this cert is that uh, the interesting part, because it's not easy to pass. the passing rate is 90%. 90%. So it's not easy to pass. Okay. So that is about the certification and step by step, just for you to understand the basic. Okay. What is the software skills needed in solar industry? This is skills that you will learn when you already in the industry. I think this is very common to be used. For example, we have a helioscope, but do not limit yourself in this kind of software. Why? Because there's a lot of other software that can be used, whether it is free version or paid version. Of course, when we are working in company, we have a paid version now. Okay, and then this is just for sample for you to understand why we and what and why we use this software. Helioscope, usually we will locate the certain area and to see the roof and design the solar on top of the roof. Okay, and then this is not limited on the roof as well. We also can use for the ground mounted, but uh, let's use a rooftop as the example. Okay, and then in this software, we have to identify what kind of PV module that you use. You have to also identify inverter and so on. There's a lot of other. We have to make sure and there's a lot of different arrangement for the solar as well for this one. So this is for design, helioscope for design, and then PVCs is once we have this design, we have the generation, we have the number of PV modules, we have at least the idea, uh, the generation for this design, and then we will use this information into this software PVCs. PVCs is actually the analysis software. Based on this analysis, we can see the irradiance, the one that I just mentioned, irradiance. It will check the irradiance and then it calculate automatically, and then it will give you how many power loss, what is the shading efficiency of there's a very uh, complete analysis. So after we have done the analysis through PVCs, then this report, it will generate the report as well, and this report we will send it to customer so that customer understand when we propose, this is not a proposal under uh, under just simple words, but we also do the simulation desktop study to confirm our proposal. So that is it. But I also mention here, I also list here Aurora and other software. You can see in the internet other different types of software. Okay, and for hardware skills, we basically this is a very basic one. This is not for you to say that this is the only one. No, of course we have the other uh, uh, equipment, electrical equipment tools, and that support the connection. But this is very basic. PV panels, different types: mono, crystalline, poly, and thin film. Okay, mono, poly, and thin film. Okay, but for industry, usually we only use first tier. What is first tier? First tier PV panels means the highest quality of uh, PV panels. How do you know if this panel is first tier or not? Okay, the list actually available in the internet. You can see that because the certain brand, they can fall into this first tier PV panels, but the rest not. So that's why whenever we want to uh, do the just now, as I mentioned here, we can decide the PV module, right? But we have to make sure PV module must be first tier, because in these two software, of course, they will display all types of PV modules, but it will not limit you into certain tier. But we have to choose with that certain brand, that is first tier brand only will be used for the installation to maintain the quality and also efficiency of the generation of the solar. Okay, and then inverter we don't have to uh, choose specific tier, only PV panels. Okay. Okay, so do you have any questions so far on this before we go to the next?
Just want to ask now, China, I think they are producing those very, very thin film, is it? Like those
Oh,
smartwatch solar.
yeah, interesting. How do you know about it?
No, I'm actually working individual, so I research a lot LinkedIn news and updates. So I just want to know if you know about this.
Thin film. Okay, thank you so much, Wong. I tried to share it briefly so that we can have the benefit of this sharing. Okay, so thin film is, I would say, a new technology. Why I say it's new technology? Because it's very, very, very rare for us to get. Okay, it exists. Yes, like you said, it's in China. There are few because we have one project. There is one project. Uh, the project, their roof is very thin, very fragile. They don't want it to be uh they 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 want it to be, they want to use thin film on the roof. So that is the concern, and that is our limitation. So we have to give them based on the customer needs, right? So that's why after a while we try to research and find. Yes, like you said, there's a lot of companies, suppliers in China, for example. They already have they already they are the major supplier of the thin film. Surprisingly, it's very easy because when the supplier send us the quotation, they also send us the video on how the installers uh, install the thin film. Okay, and then we saw that, oh, it looks very easy for them to install, and they said it's very easy for them to maintain as well. But of course, they said there's a lot of things that they have to make sure on the roof. What kind of roof? What kind of roof? Usually they use it on TPO membrane roof. So means that the thin film is not for normal typical roof, but it's for certain types of roof, for example, membrane roof. Yeah. Am I answering you, Wong? Wong?
Yes.
Hey, hi, Denise. Okay,
Hi,
so
Sydney.
okay, do you have any other question before I go to the next? Anyone? If no, I just proceed first. Okay, this is our company. I just share you the public information. apologies that I cannot share much. I only can share the public information that you can get from the our website. So basically, our company started since 2015, and the photo behind this is actually our plant. Okay, so basically, this is very brief introduction about our company. Our company is the first large-scale solar in Malaysia. The first before, I think now you can see, you can find in the internet. There's a lot of other LSS. We large-scale solar, we call it LSS, but I think it's a great achievement that they have started first in 2018 with one of the largest large-scale solar with 59 megawatt peak. Okay, and also the first Islamic green bond in the world. Okay, and okay, so that is briefly about us. Now we go into this Tadau LSS plan. We have our plan at Kudat Sabah, and just now I mentioned why we choose to build the plan in the Kudat Sabah, because Kudat has the largest. I'm not saying the largest in Malaysia, but one of the largest in Malaysia with the reading 1,890. Remember, in average in Malaysia is we have 17, right? But in Southeast Asia, 15 to 2000. So I believe this is one of the good resource that we have to utilize. Okay, so let's see. I want to share. I want to share the maps. Since I cannot bring you to Sabah, let's see through Google Maps. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, nice. Okay, so this is okay, now as you can see here, okay, the total is 50 megawatt. Okay. Okay, the total is 50 megawatt AC, but just now I mentioned 59 megawatt peak. Peak is actually the one that we call for DC power. Okay, so for 50 megawatt, actually we divide it by 2, 48 here, and 2 is here. Okay. Now let's see how it looks like. Now let's see how it looks like here. This is our plan. Okay, so you can see here, this plant is ground mounted. Of course, it's very obvious. This is ground mounted. This is 2, while the other part is 48. 48. It is very, very huge area to maintain. And then we have our team there in charge with the operation and also maintenance. So we have to support them from HQ while they also have to do all this maintenance. Not easy, not easy. Okay, so I think that's all that I can share for now. And let's see what's question that you prepare for us.
Okay, thank you, IRCT. So now we have come to our Q&A session. But let me share my screen. Wait. Okay, so can you see my screen? Anyone? Okay, so if you got any question, you can either open your mic to ask question, or you can access to Mentimeter, and the code is shown in the slide.
Well, I have a question here. Can I
Who
ask?
are you?
Richie.
Richie.
Yeah. So what do you do with the solar panels that at the end of their life cycle? Like
Sorry again.
what kind of excuse me. Once the solar panels have reached the end of their life cycle, then what methods are being used in Malaysia that is for recycling them?
What uh what methods that we use to recycling them?
Yes, or any maybe industrial standards or whatever.
As of now, I've not been involved, or maybe we are not been involved with this recycling, or maybe because we are still running actively, and we have not been involved with the process of recycling or maybe replacing. We have been doing this adding on the installation of our plant in Sabah, but as of now we have not been involved with the recycling of the panel that have been ended the end of the cycle. Sorry, Richie.
I think that's okay. I'm just asking because I was
Yeah.
curious.
Okay, it's okay. But there's a lot of but since you asked, I just want to share. There's a lot of other um, waste management, waste management techniques. But one of it is, we call it e-waste. E-waste. E-waste is actually the one that we want to use whenever it involves with the electronic waste. So e-waste, maybe it falls into that category. Okay, because the battery also falls into that category, e-waste management. Thank you for your question, Richie. Any other question?
I have a question. May I know roughly for the land base or the one that is planted in the field, what is the typical weight of one solar panel roughly? The heaviest?
Sorry?
The heaviest solar panel you have installed so far?
The heaviest solar panel so far.
And then is there any complications in this matter in terms of I know the first time you talk about installation, but because when you're installing something, there might be problems that you have faced. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the problems that is faced before this in any of your situations before.
Related to the installation.
Installation of solar panels.
Okay. First of all, as for the installation, not many people can do the installation. Do you have a wireman certificate, Wong? Since you started working on that area already?
No, I'm actually working as a geotech, so I'm not actually in electrical, but I'm curious to learn now because I believe everyone must have the competency to do something before they can actually execute the work. So I actually do have the certificate, but I want to learn now, and I want to step.
Interesting. Okay, Wong, I just want to share with you for the installer, there's another certificate because just now I mentioned about the GCPV, right? But that GCPV is actually for designer. Another certificate I didn't put in the slide just now is installer. Designer is different to installer. Designer means that they are doing the designer because just now I mentioned about the software, right? The PVCs and so on. So they will be taught about how to calculate the area convert to the how many power modules convert to the how many electricity generated and so on. So that's designer. Okay, but the designer will that the information gained by designer will be transferred to installer. Installer will not do all those calculation or whatever it is. Installer will do. Installer will follow exactly what they mention in the spec. Types of PV modules, types of the inverter, the connection of grid or grid connected, all those information they will install it. That's two different types, designer and installer. Yeah, but both of them must have a certification. Both certification is under SEDA. So SEDA is Sustainable Environment Development in Malaysia.
Okay, understand.
But
Roughly,
but you don't have to worry. I learned that there's one thing that I learned in this solar industry is that you don't have to be electrical to be in this industry because we have seen a lot of other engineers in other field that can survive. Not only survive, they become expert in this industry. So you can be too.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think there's questions on the board. I'll read the rest of questions first. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, what's the question, Yulena? Juliana, you are mute.
Sorry. Okay. So the question is it possible to share some insights on the standards obeyed in designing LSS?
Which one?
The green one, the green box.
It is possible to share some insight on the standards obeyed in designing LSS. What is standards? Okay. Who asked this question? Okay. So basically, there are two. There are two authorities. First, you have to know the authorities that involved with this uh, okay, you have to know the authorities involved. First, we have it depends on which state are you. If West Malaysia, it is ST Suruhanjaya Tenaga, and Sarawak we have Sarawak Energy. Sabah we have SESP. Okay, that's very simple. But at the same time, you also have to work together with SEDA. Okay, these two, and then what is the standards? There's a lot of program. Okay, program that they have they already share for the solar generally. But if you ask me about the LSS, now I think they are going to batch 4 or 5 because ours is batch 1, LSS 1. Now they are going to LSS 4 and 5, something like that. But we are not involved in the later batch lah. The other company they have involved with the other later the letter. If you ask me the specific design LSS, to be honest, I'm not sure because I just recently work with this Tadao while LSS already established, because our LSS is already 5 to 6 years. But so we have not involved with this designing procedure of LSS. If you ask me now, what is the standards that we looking for is related to the other, for example, rooftop solar and so on. Okay, because LSS is very huge and very risky as well. So that's in terms of business perspective, you have to also look into the abundant the demand of the easy demand of the from the customer. So of course, rooftop is one of the best, one of the easiest, and also one of the most demanded by our customer, either commercial, industry, or maybe residential. So basically, we are very familiar with the standard for uh, rooftop solar. And of course, now we are working to explore other renewable resource. Yeah, that's all that I can share on that. Next question, Juliana.
So what kind of financial support would be needed for LSS? Like for example, power purchase agreement, net metering.
Wow, very interesting question, huh? How come I got this kind of question? Because usually, if this kind of question comes from our customer, not comes from very fresh engineering student. But this is good. Means that you know something, but you want to know more about it. Okay, that's good. Um, for our LSS, um, and I don't know. I think we cannot limit the project on the LSS only. I would say I'm not sure whether you use LSS. You want to refer to LSS or maybe you refer to solar in general. But I want to answer it in solar in general. Okay, basically our financial support we offer it in different in different types of purchase. Power purchase agreement is one of the common. We call it, the short form is PPA. PPA means that if for those who might not know what is PPA, PPA is like a contract between the investor and the buyer or the customer. So in this contract, usually we will sign it to agree for certain certain years, certain period of time, usually 10 to 25 years. Okay, to for this to supply the solar, and also they have to pay like the normal electricity bills, but their electricity bills will be reduced because they use solar. That's the good thing. And just for sharing to all of you guys, um, there's a lot of people installed in the residential area nowadays. They are not only use solar as the only source, but they will use it as a backup with the main electricity, and they manage to reduce it on more than 50%, which is very interesting. But I'm just sharing, but I don't have house that I can really apply it. Okay. Yeah. Any other question, Juliana?
Yeah, okay, so the next question is, does any of your LSS have initiative to clean the panels? Looks like the areas are prone to be sandy to a certain
Ah,
extent.
Yeah, this is very interesting. This doesn't. You might. This is. I believe this refer to our LSS at Kudasaba. Just now, I already show you our map, right? Yes, correct. I agree that it is not prone, but it always it always dirty because it is on the ground, on the ground. And then that's why we have our team operation and maintenance there. They have to clean it regularly because you know that the surface is very important to determine the efficiency, right? The efficiency of the solar panel. So if it is sandy or dirty, it reduce. Even it's shady, this is the solar, right? Sometimes the tree there's the shadow. It also affect the efficiency of the solar as well. So that's the role of our maintenance team lah. They will let us know that okay, there's a tree that we have to potong. Then okay, so there's a lot of conversation that we have to work together with our maintenance team and also us here as a operation to support them. Yeah, but of course they are doing it because we here at HQ we can see the performance. We have the software to monitor the performance of our plant. But yeah, that's why. But you cannot depend on the software alone, right? Sometimes it says that underperformance, but is it really underperformance or something is going on right there? So that's why you have to let the maintenance team know that okay, maintenance team ABC PV module ABC is I can see here underperform. May I know? Can you check? Is it correct or is there any something wrong? Is there? So that's the thing that we are working together lah. We monitor. They also check and monitor as well. And we also have a drone to help them lah. But because I don't think their team they can cover all area every day because it takes turn, right? Of course we clean it regularly, but it takes turn, the area by area, as a PV module by PV module, something like that. Okay, next question.
Okay, the next question. How does the company handle with extreme situations such as the during rainy, cloudy weather for prolonged periods of time?
Very, very good question. To be honest, as a solar company, we don't really like raining season because raining means that we don't have money lah. We don't have revenue lah. Okay, because every year we have the target. How many percent? We have the expected target. How many percent? Of course, we have to expect the raining season, but to maintain the average every month, every year is not easy because you have to understand that this power generation will be converted into cost as well. So that's the thing. But if you ask me how does the company handle with extreme situation, for now I'm not saying it's as extreme, but it's very uncertain season. And uh, and especially if we are going to La Nina, El Nino, and so on, it will affect. But yeah, first, because you cannot control weather. First, you have to really make sure everything that you can control is there. First, you have to check your module, your tools, everything is okay. First. Second, you have to really check and compare the weather, the to predict the weather, which area, which month, and how many days. to predict the uncertainties, and then after that you have to ensure we can the next month we can compensate the loss that we have gone through when they were raining now. But if you ask me, can we control the weather? We cannot, but we can prevent the bigger loss. For example, I give you example, because you know it will be raining, right? You cannot control the the rain, right? But you can by making us be more prepared means that we prepare our modules fully utilized, fully ready to generate more and electricity. Okay, so you cannot say that because it's raining, we have to let our panel dirty. For example, dirty means lower performance. Raining already lower. If you let it dirty, double lower performance, for example. So we have to do whatever things that we can control. The things that we cannot control, we have to predict and prepare. Something like that. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, any other question?
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, which type of PV panels are commonly used in projects?
Very good question. This very good and very easy question. Which type of PV panels? Of course, mono. Mono is the highest, the best PV panels because it has the higher uh, efficiency. So the higher efficiency means the higher it can absorb the irradiance and convert it into energy, electricity energy. But of course, the best means that the higher in price. That's the thing. That's the thing. So depends on the company, the project, and supplier. But for us to maintain the quality, we have to stick with the mono.
Okay, so the last question is, what are the parts that make up solar panel and the use of these parts?
Very interesting question. What are the parts of the? Because just now, as you can see here, let me show you.
Do you want to share the screen?
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
Because I didn't prepare. Okay. Just like I mentioned just now, the for the parts, it's very the common one is PV modules and then inverter. Why we need inverter? Inverter we need to convert it from DC to AC emitter, of course. Okay, and that's very uh simple connection between the source. PV module is the one that obtain the irradiance from the sun and convert it. How to convert it? Using the inverter and then distribute to the consumers and so on. Okay. The larger the load that we want to supply, the more complex the system is. So the easier is for domestic, and if let's say the manufacturing whatever plants, we have to design the bigger and complex system. Okay, so what's next question? I saw just now.
Okay. The next question is, would you recommend battery energy storage system for your solar power system? So, if so, what kind of technology would you often recommend?
Okay, interesting question. Yes, we would like to say yes, not only battery energy storage system, but also hydrogen and so on. There's a lot of other technology they need to be explored, but since it's still new, so we need to explore more to understand whether it is suitable or fit with our system. That's it. So I cannot give you what is the best to recommend, because we are not from BSS company. We are from LSS or maybe solar company. So yeah, that's it. We have to work together with our partner to understand the battery and so on. But the good that you mentioned about BSS, because BSS is something that nowadays people are exploring also. Yes.
Okay. Uh, no, this one already done. I think the next question is, what is the typical warranty for solar panels that you provide, that your company provide?
Good question. Good question. Wait, let me. Mm, mm, wait, I want to find the. I want to share the warranty of all components. Maybe, Juliana, can we skip on that first and see if there any other question? Other question first.
Yeah. So what is your opinion on concentrated solar power, or solar tower in Malaysia? So the person have read the source that said the solar irradiance and technology in Malaysia isn't sufficient to support it.
Wow.
They did some research though.
Okay, what is your opinion on concentrated solar tower in Malaysia? I've read with sources that said the solar radiance and energy in Malaysia is interesting. But solar irradiance not enough. I'm not sure why. Solar technology, I think. Okay, I understand the question. But I would say concentrated solar power and okay, uh, let me introduce, sorry, for our role in this industry. Of course, we have LSS. Okay, we have the LSS as one of our major business, but at the same time, we are the investor. We are not EPCC or EPC. Do you guys are familiar with the words of EPC and EPCC, the contract engineering, procurement, and that EPCC and EPC? So usually we will collaborate with our partner EPC or EPCC, and we will come as the investor and work together to find the best area to offer to our customer. So if you ask me about what is my opinion on this concentrated solar power and solar tower? I'm not familiar on this, but the next sentence is I've read sources that said the solar irradiance in Malaysia is not enough. Hmm, not enough to support solar or not enough to support LSS or to support CSP. I suppose it's not not enough to support CSP. I'm not sure. If you ask me this, if the solar irradiance is not enough fully to support us, I beg to disagree. And if you ask me the solar technology is not enough, I also beg to disagree because there's a lot of, like I said, solar industry is very crowded industry. So when it's crowded industry, it means that everyone is very uh, uh, trying their hard to catching up, to upgrade, to give the better offer compared to the rest. Okay, so maybe you are talking about the CSP or solar tower. So I'm not familiar on this. Maybe something that out of our scope. Okay, but you guys good.
Okay. I think that's the last question. What kind of commission tests would be done on a typical solar power plant, regardless whether it's rooftop or OSS?
What is the commission test? Oh, okay, sorry. this this one I cannot answer as well because I'm not a commission. I'm not maintenance guy. Yeah. Uh, I try to I try to ask my colleague from the Kudat as well, but yeah, uh, like I mentioned to Juliana, the timing is not right, so that's why uh, I only can share certain things that are related to us. So that's why for the maintenance part, I'm sorry I cannot answer much on the commissioning. Where is the question just now?
Um, where's the question goes? Okay. Can you scroll down a bit? I think it's the first column. Yeah, the commission test. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure the specific commission test, but we knew that they have done the test and commissioning. But if you ask me what is the specific, I'm not sure. And I don't want to simply answer you just because I want to answer you. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the next question. I found out there's more question down there. Yeah. So,
Aduh. Good lah. Bagus.
okay. Which type of panels has most CST effective and how long it can be used?
CST? What is CST? Maybe someone can
think
share
it's
what is
cost-
CST.
I think it's
Cost
cost-effective.
effective. Okay, cost effective. Which type of panels has most cost effective and how long it can be used? Okay, this one, can we hold it for a while, Juliana? This one we gather it with the question of the warranty just now.
Yeah, okay. So the next question, does the company plan to look into building integrated PV, BIPV?
Interesting. We are open in anything related that we can offer to our company, our customer. But I know this building integrated PV. Last time we done the proposal for car park. Car park. Usually BIPV, it's either with the building attached. If for those are not familiar with BIPV, usually this is actually related to the system attached together with the building. The building, something like that. So yeah, we can, if you are our customer, of course we we will say yes. Yeah, we plan to look into this as well, but of course BIPV is different course, and this is not the normal typical financial planning uh, for normal installation, because the BIPV itself is an extra cost. Okay, thanks for asking that question. Any other question?
Can you scroll the middle one? Sorry. This one, did we answer this question already just now? What is the percentage drop?
What is the percentage drop of solar panel performance if it does experience extreme cloudy, rainy conditions? This is very, we don't have very specific percentage, because okay, there's a lot of things that we have to consider. We have to check whether it first power loss. We also have to check the performance ratio. The performance ratio, it depends on the. We also have to check the sensor. This is good thing that you have to know. If you're interested, this one you have to put into your note. Weather sensor. You have to learn on this weather sensor, because sometimes it's uh, uh, not only about the power module, but also the weather sensor. It helps us to read the reading clearly or not. So that's the thing. Okay. Extreme. That's my answer, Juliana.
Okay, I think that's all from the Mentimeter. Yeah.
Okay, so this is wait, let me share. This is just now. How many question that we left?
Two.
How many years? Oh, the warranty.
Yeah, the warranty one.
The solar PV module. 12 years of product warranty, 25 years of performance warranty. Okay, inverter, 5 years product warranty. The mounting structure, 10 years product warranty. Monitoring system, 1 year product warranty. And finally, workmanship is 1 year warranty. This is the warranty that we have.
Okay.
Any other question?
Is there any questions?
Yeah, any other verbal question?
Siti, I have one question. Are you looking for expansion in Sabah, not only within that area?
Are you Sabahan?
No. I'm Selangor.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Are we looking for Sabah? Any means that other area parts of Kudat, is it?
Yes.
The short answer is yes. The long answer is, of course, like I mentioned just now, you saw the maps, right? Maps of the solar irradiance. The more red is the higher irradiance is, and the better conversion into energy. That's very simple. So for us to get more potential, for us to really use the solar potential is to go into the red. We follow the sun. If in analogy, I just want to share, we follow the sun. We follow the sun. But if you ask specifically to Sabah, yes, correct. Because Kudat is very north to Sabah, right? And then what about the rest of Sabah? The rest of Sabah, you see here, it still has other area with red color just now. Let me share again. This, this, yeah, this, yeah, this one. This Kudat is of course one of the highest. But what about this Sabah? The other area of Sabah? A bit of area at Miri, something like that. Okay. So if you ask me, are we keen to explore other area of Sabah? Yes. Because Sabah, I would say, has one of a good irradiance. In average, Sabah has 1,861 uh, kilowatt hour per meter square for their irradiance, which is good. But if you ask me, is it easy? Of course not, nah. Because there's a lot of challenge that we have to understand from Sabah area, especially if you want to install something new. You have to see the area. Is it okay? And if you are anyone here from civil field, you understand that the structure of the soil is very important, right? Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that's the thing that we consider lah, because we also have to handle the soil erosion. uh, that is one of the issue that we have to maintain. Mm. Even though we have to maintain the solar performance, but at the same time, anything anything near to the solar power module is we have to make sure no interruption to the performance. For example, just now I said tree. You think tree is not harmful, correct? But tree will give shading. Shading will reduce the performance. And sometimes it can give bad effect to the module. Okay? And then same goes to the soil. Soil, we really install it on the soil. What about the soil? Okay, when you started to install it, it's still okay. What about 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? So that's the thing that we have to really maintain and make sure it will not affect our performance. And also at the same time, the one that you guys, one of your member just now asked about the regular cleaning. Yes, of course, we have to regularly clean it. But that's the good thing that we have the software to monitor. From here, we monitor it, and then after that, they will have drone over there to really confirm it. After confirm, then baru they will go it. They will go one by one. Because you try to imagine, this is not one small area. This is very, very, very huge area. Even when we saw it in the map just now, yeah, we can relax now. We can feel relaxed now because we are looking at the map while sitting here in our own area. But what about them? What about our team? Our team is working so hard under the heat of the sun, or maybe sometimes under the raining season, just to make sure our solar module works well. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you
So,
for the question.
okay, is that all?
Most welcome. I have one more question. Just want to ask, for artificial lighting compared to sun irradiance, what is the efficiency drop? Because I know in especially KL area, there's a lot of artificial lights. May I know roughly what is the efficiency of solar power change?
For artificial lightning,
Artificial compared to actual solar, because I know some areas they have artificial light during the night is switched on, so is the solar panel still working like that or no?
oh, you mean artificial? I'm not sure about the artificial solar.
That means that, for
So
example,
yeah.
street lights on the street. Let's say you have a solar farm behind, and there's a street light, so the street lights are on. Would the solar panel still be activated during that period of time, especially at night?
Sorry again.
Okay,
Sorry,
in the morning
I try
there's
to understand your
sun.
question.
Okay, I repeat slowly.
Okay.
Okay, in the morning we have the sun, the solar energy shining on the solar panels. Then we have energy
Yes.
transfer to electrical. That one is okay. For nighttime, if there's artificial lighting because we did charge, for example, there's a street lamp around the farm, so the artificial lights were on. So the artificial lights on, the solar panels also will still generate electricity, is it?
No. Because like you mentioned just now, correct? Then daytime they will get the solar and then convert it. Of course, they have the generation. So at night they have. So that's why for our plant actually we have two ways connection. We have grid connected with the SESP. Actually, the one that we in our plant supply to SESP.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then after that at night, some of the energy goes back into us. So we have that the offset during that transfer.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Siti.
Yeah. Bong, please connect the at LinkedIn. If you have any question, then we can contact further. Because your question is very interesting. But
Alright.
yeah, there's a lot of other things that related. For example, macam for NEM. But NEM, there are 3 types of NEM. But also you have to check whether it is industrial, Nova, government, and also domestic. But different types of NEM is different scheme, different way on how to distribute and how to get the revenue. That's it. Selco, there are different types of program. Selco is self-consumption. Means that if you use it, if you have extra, it will be wasted. But if you whatever you use, you can use it. But if you have extra based on the generation, you cannot sell it. But Selco different compared to the NEM. NEM, you can still sell it to S uh, TNB or SESP. You can sell it. Sell it means that maybe offset 1-to-1 or how depends. Because different, I cannot give answer one to fit all because different scheme, different how they manage their own distribution and revenue as well. Even NEM, Nova is not 1-to-1 offset. Domestic and government, yes, 1-to-1 offset. That's different thing. Yes, one more people, Millennium,
Yeah, I
please.
wanna
Please hand.
ask something. So generally, how long does it take for the solar power plant to like start earning profit? Because it's gonna take time for it to like how do I say this? Uh, It's gonna take time to
to
like
get oh I like
to actually start earning profit.
to get their capital, right?
Yeah.
Ah, good question. Because we are as investor, of course, we are talking about money more. Okay. Okay. So how many years? That's why before. That's why just now I mentioned that we will do the prelim assessment, right? Before we propose to the customer. So during the prelim assessment, we will do both side of assessment, technical side and also financial side. Because usually as engineers, we are familiar with the technical things, right? We will calculate lah the generation, consumption, cost, how many size module, and so on. Okay, everything is correct. What about the money? The money is something that makes us understand where we stand and how we both parties benefit. We have to measure us as the investor to benefit and also the customer. So to back to your question, how many years? It depends. We have to check whether usually 10 years is acceptable. Mm.
Oh, okay.
Because when I said that we are investor means that the one that give upfront cost is us. That's
Mhm.
why we have the agreement, PPA, Power Purchase Agreement. One of the way lah. I'm not saying PPA is the only one. We have another payment types, for example, outright purchase and other things lah. But it depends on the agreement between the investor, contractor, and customer and so on. So that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing
Okay.
that I can share lah.
Okay. Oh yeah, and back on the purchase methods. What about project bidding? Does that help cover the cost as well?
Sorry again.
Back on the matters on the financial stuff, right? What about project bidding? Does that help cover the to a certain extent the cost as well?
Project bidding.
Mm.
Project bidding. The cost during the project bidding.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Yeah. Yeah. We have to cover it as well. We whenever we build the financial cost, right? We have to measure. We have to calculate. We have to design. Of course, we have to ask our financial people as well to guide us on how to measure our. Uh, we have to measure the goal is clear that we want to have positive cash flow. Means that in long term, it is confirm positive cash flow. Of course, we will talk about other things, uncertainty things. For example, maybe inflation, power loss, error, trip, even electrical trip also is a loss for us, right?
Mm.
Weather or whatever. Pandemic also can be a loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
But but I would say you have. That's why whenever you build the financial modeling, you have to make sure you already plus how many percent for the uncertainties. There's a lot of other percentage. For example, you have to also cover. Nowadays, I think one of the major things that been considered is insurance. So that is one of the costs that you have to consider, so that long term the money is secured with the project and performance, everything is secured. That's it. To confirm everything perfect in 25 years is not easy. But
Okay.
we are trying to offer the best offer, not only to the customer, but also we have to to make sure ourselves is in a good uh, stand lah. We cannot macam give the best to others, but at the same time we are suffering. No, that is not that kind of deal lah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, is there any question? In the count of 3, 3, 2, 1. Okay, no? Okay. So before we end the sessions today, let me share my screen again. Okay, so we would like to take this opportunity to give IRCT a certificate of appreciation for the effort and time she has contributed to give us this talk. It's a small token, but we are all very grateful for what you have shared with us today. So IRCT, later I will send this certificate to you through your email. So on to the next slide. Okay, photo taking sessions. Let me stop sharing. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, can you please all open your camera and we can have a group photo together?
Hi, Wong. Now I can see you.
Hello, Siti.
Okay, Sarah, you will help us to take the group photo, yeah?
Yeah, wait a moment.
Okay. Any more? Open your camera, don't be shy. Is that all? Okay. Sarah, you do the countdown.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay, thank you everyone. So wait. So finally we come to the end of the event today. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to say thanks again to our speaker for the informative and interesting sharing, and to audience for your active participation. So hopefully the presentation will be beneficial for everybody. Thank you for joining today and see you on our next event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so
The
much.
question is not, it's not, the question is not normal question.
I hope you all enjoy. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. I hope that we can work together as in solar industry. If you're interested, please. I'm not saying that welcome to our company, but welcome to solar industry so that we can work together and see how it goes. Okay. Thank you so much. See you
Thank you.
next time. Yeah.
See you next time.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you, Miss City.
Thank you.